Hi,
I'm Kirsten,
I'm Kelsey,
and
and we
we're
are the
Joy
Joy Junkies. You've seen us before.
Yes, this is episode 11. We have been gone for what? I don't know, 9 months? We've been
About
gone.
about
Yeah.
that long, a long time since we've been here. We're so happy to be here and be doing this again.
Yeah, we're happy to be back. I wanted to take a minute and kind of review where we've been. You all are going to maybe recognize some of the episodes that we've done before, but we wanted to remind anybody that's popping in new, following us, kind of where we've been. So
A lot of places.
Initially, we did the definition of joy.
What
Then
that
we
is.
talked about joy blocking emotions, the things that get in the way of joy. We talked about the pillars of joy, and there were 4 pillars of joy, including forgiveness, innocent perception,
And then another episode that had
gratitude, and self-compassion. We talked about satisfaction and how joy contributes to that. Maturing. No, that was maturity. Maturity was a joy junkie. It was a pillars of joy. Then we did joy in the sacred. I loved that episode. I don't know that it got as many views as we had hoped, but I just really loved the episode of how
the concept
the
of
joy,
that.
yeah, joy brings us into the sacred. And then relationship ruptures and repair, which I think is so
It
critical.
hits on healing and like how joy is connected to that.
And then we talked about joy and simplicity. And then our very last one before we took a break was defiant joy. And I think that was so, I don't know, it was almost profound, because after defiant joy, we both had situations that came into our lives where we really had to enact some defiant joy.
Like claim it, step into it, like fight for your joy, basically, because you do.
Mm-hmm.
It can come so naturally, but you realize more and more that the more that you learn about joy, the more you realize you got to choose it.
That's right.
And you can get better and better at that.
Exactly. Part of the maturity cycle. So what are we going to do this week?
So today we're going to talk to you about one particular topic as well. And this is finding joy in balance. So I know since the past 9 months since we've been here, that's been something that I feel like I've been learning about and just seeing more clearly and clearly. And I know that Kirsten also understands how joy is involved with balance too. So I guess we could start out by saying, like, what is balance? So balance is moderation, which means that you're not doing too much of one thing and you're open to multiple things. So there's a sort of openness that comes with it.
Is it openness and experience, or is it openness? Talk a little bit about that. What does that mean to be open for balance?
Yeah, it means that to me it just is simple in the sense that you don't have to stay glued in one thing. Like, you can have an open mind to multiple things that you do, multiple things that you think about, multiple people that you like decide to spend your time with. So for example, you've probably learned this if you've ever, like, I don't know, had too much chocolate, or like laid on the couch for like 3 hours when you were going to watch TV for like 1 or something like that. Where you realize that you've had too much of something and you don't feel good.
Yeah, it kind of sucks the joy right out of the experience.
Yeah, because you may have found initial satisfaction in what you were doing, but if you had too much of it, then it's no longer satisfying.
So that's something like, when people are in love and they have to be separated, you know how they say, like,
distance makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like that with most things.
Distance makes you be disconnected.
Right. So it's a balance. Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess you could say that can manifest in simple ways, but it can also be like a strong, serious addiction, for example. That can range. It's anything that's out of balance. And so I think realizing, okay, if that's not good, then maybe I need to be intentional about healing from that addiction, or just be intentional about, sticking to your schedule daily that you've made for your own benefit, for your own good.
Feels like in balance, it feels like there's a tension, and that there's this desire to stick to something, but also be willing to experience something more. Does that make sense? Like, balance is, the tension of it is that if I get stuck I need to have a schedule. I need to stay committed to what I've committed to, but I also need to be open to new things and to experience new things. And there's a balance to there's a tension to holding that balance. in not getting stuck in any kind of rut. Like joy requires that you're staying open, and I think that goes back to innocent perception, right? Where you're looking for the good in things, and you're finding opportunity.
What
to
can I
engage
find
in
here
it.
that's good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I like
For
that.
sure. Definitely. And we have also just the concept of when you accomplish things, when you get things done, how does that make you feel?
Oh, well, I'm a production junkie, so
You
love
like
it.
to, yeah,
Love
you like
it.
to cross things off the list. But, some people do. And even if you're not huge into that, it still feels good to be like, okay, I got this done.
Yeah, accomplishment feels good.
Yeah, and that's actually part of having balance. Because, and this is why I think it connects to joy, is because when you have you can have greater levels of joy from accomplishment because it fosters self-love. So you've acknowledged, like, I've done a good thing. It's not just that I did it, but it's like you yourself did it. So there's this, you're proud of yourself in a healthy way.
And how does that relate to like sharing your accomplishments with others? How does that build joy in that?
Well, they can be happy for you. Like if you told me you got this talk that you're doing accomplished, I'd be like, nice. And be like, yeah. And then just, so, I mean, that's a small example, but it's true. And it's basically what you will realize is that if you share anything, pretty much anything positive, right? Maybe not just positive, but just sharing.
I think
you can
shared
share
sorrows is actually joy building, and that we're sharing something that's not. And sorrow is not necessarily negative, but it's a negative part of life where,
But you can be known. So yeah. So yeah, and so, but I think too, it's like it fosters. So if you accomplish something and you're proud of yourself. Remember how we said a long time ago when we first talked about joy that joy is relational? So there's that relationship to self too. So if you can be happy for yourself in a good way, then there's joy.
That also seems like a balance, because being happy for yourself and feeling good about that, and not just be seeking other people to be happy for you, but to find the balance in, it's good to experience other people being happy for you, but to have that sense of, I did this and I'm satisfied.
Yes. Because if you have that, you don't need that validation as much from the external.
Well, and that's how the validation from the external becomes sweeter.
It becomes, you receive it better. Because you don't need it, it's a gift.
Yeah. I love that. Good insights.
Thanks, I've learned that too. She likes to see me grow. And then I also had on this, finding joy and balance, taking time for truth. Because if you actually, if you're talking about balance, you're deciding that you're going to do several things in your day, probably. And so one of those things that can be so helpful, I think is the most helpful. One of the most helpful things for me is finding time for truth in general. So even if you're not religious, what's something that we all know is true? Like, people are good. Life is good. But for me, like, since I am a Christian and I do believe in Jesus, I know that he calls himself the way, the truth, and the life. So if I'm spending time with truth every day, I'm actually like spending time in my faith, essentially. So because it can be so easy to get out of balance with what's not true, so like, lies and stuff like that you can come up through different things that you're doing, or hearing or experiencing. And so I think taking that time to come back into, okay, what's true, it really grounds you. So grounding has to do with it. And knowing just like your mind, did you know, is the most powerful thing, one of the most powerful things on the planet.
Your mind?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
I read that. Thank you, Lauren Everly, for sending me a page in a book that said that, because I really took that and have become so much more convicted of that being true. So
what did the book say? What did it say?
It just said it said next to God, your mind is the most powerful thing on the planet. So your brain has so much power. That's why they probably, say that gratitude is so important.
So it's what you think about. It's your ability to choose what you think about. It's your ability to maintain the balance. It's your ability to nurture joy. It's your ability to be satisfied in yourself, but to connect in others. And your mind is the place where that happens. Right? It's part decision, but it's also part habit. I think we naturally gravitate whichever direction that we kind of nurture. And so if, like for me, productivity is incredible. Like I love to produce things, but I can get
think I
into
do
that
too.
producing place, and then forget about my need for connection.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
And so I gravitate towards production because it feels good to me. But then if I go too far to that direction, then I lose and so then I have to set my mind to like, okay, I need to value people and I need to value some connection.
Which brings us straight into our next point of giving and relationship. Because if you're balanced, you're gonna, like, I love to give to Kirsten, but what's so great is she actually loves to give back. And so not just receiving but giving, so valuing the other human person that is around you, or several people, your family, your friends, or even honestly, you can find so much satisfaction in just giving a genuine statement or smile to someone that you don't even know. There's so much joy that can come from
I was
that.
talking to somebody today that they're working on nurturing joy. That's part of their current focus. And
Awesome.
I was
We approve.
asking them. That's right. Joy Jackie for approved. But one of the things they told me about was they were in the grocery store parking lot and they saw an older gentleman who his grocery cart was kind of getting away from him, and it was windy and his hat kind of flew the other direction, and you could see he was kind of all out of sorts.
Just sitting here, I'm like, I want to help him.
Right, and she did that. Can't. She rushed to help him, and she felt so satisfied by doing that. And he was like, "Oh, thank you so much." Like his gratitude was so deep, and it was so simple for her, and it was just, she was like, no, it's okay. We all need help sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that statement, we all need help sometimes, is part of the balance, right? I can't always be giving, but in giving, there is receiving.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and what did she do when that happened? She wanted to share the joy even more by telling somebody about it.
Yeah.
So that's how significant that was, that it expanded from her to another, and now to me, and now to all you guys. Oh, look! I saw you coming. That's the owner of this coffee shop.
Who gives us a lot of joy. As a matter of fact, I have my coffee today.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even show you guys what we're drinking.
It might be backwards, because sometimes the cameras get backwards. It says Perks. The Perks here are best.
Look at that little girl out there.
The Perks are best here. I don't know. We'll have to cut that part out if it's dumb sounding. But
the Perks are best here. It's not dumb sounding. It brought you joy. So.
It did. It brought me a lot of joy because tea is fantastic to us, and
it's a happy place to be here. So she got here and was like, "Yeah, good place." The cup says so. And this is
so. Anything else for joy? Finding joy?
No, I think that honestly about sums it up.
Okay.
Just I think the more that you do give and receive, and you're doing both, the more you realize I was made for this, and when you're doing what you were made for, you're going to be happy.
And we were made for experiencing many things in balance. In balance. Very well. Well, thank you, guys.
So go for a walk.
So our email address is joyjunkies@gmail.com. It'll be on the bottom of the screen when you guys see that. So give us a shout out.
Thanks for listening. And hope that something stood out in this for you.
Yes.
And we just want to say thanks too for everyone who does watch this, and not just for us, but we want to when you know something, you learn something's true, you want to share that with other people. So it's a joy. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
See ya.